Greetings, hunters! If you're new to Monster Hunter Wilds and you want to learn the hunting horn, then this video is for you. The hunting horn is a blunt weapon that deals impact damage against monsters. Unique to the weapon is that it has access to notes and songs, which can significantly change one's preferred playstyle. With the hunting horn, you will be able to stun monsters and knock them out cold, place buffs onto yourself and your party members, and use songs to deal all forms of damage, including elemental and status effects. As a weapon, the hunting horn is a very simple moveset, which we'll break down into 4 categories. We have neutral attacks, which are moves that you can do on command without any combo requirements. We have follow-up attacks, which are moves that require a previous move to be done first. We have performances, which are moves that rely on the notes and songs mechanics of the hunting horn. And lastly, we have multi-note inputs, which are moves new to Monster Hunter Wilds that specialize in playing multiple notes in quick succession. First up is the left swing, which you can do by pressing triangle on your gamepad without any directional input. The left swing is one of your faster moves and it swings the horn from left to right. To maximize your efficiency, you'd want to avoid attacking from the red zones and take position at the blue zones instead. Attacking from the red zones will usually snag your attacks against the monster's front limbs or front wings. Attacking from the blue zones would give you clear line of sight with the monster's head. There's a rather tricky angle right around here where you can have a high angle attack against the monster's head. The right swing is done by pressing circle without any directional input. The right swing is also one of your faster moves, and its range of motion is an upward swing from right to left. So you'd want to angle your attacks at these blue positions. If close enough, you could try to angle your hunter as if doing a golf swing on the monster's head. You can also attack through monster limbs and aim at the head at around this angle. You can hit at a high angle at around this spot. Next, we have the back strike, or more commonly called the Backslam, which is done by pressing both triangle and circle at the same time with no directional input. The Backslam is a very unique move in that it has an arc so wide that the initial point of damage would start in front of your hunter and the ending point of damage will be at the far back of your hunter. If you're facing a monster, the Backslam hits rather quickly, but has a very short range, so you'd want to do this attack as close to the monster as you can. If you have your back turned against the monster instead, the Backslam has a longer windup, but you get more range. You can space yourself out more if you attack the monster with your back turned against it. Next up, we have the forward slam, which you can do by pressing triangle and any directional input. This move hits at a straight angle in front of you, so it's easy enough to just aim directly at the monster's head. The forward slam can also function as a draw attack when your weapon is sheathed. To do this, simply press triangle while in a sheathed running state and your hunter will do a forward slam. You can further modify the sheath forward slam to become a right swing or a back slam instead, by doing a forward slam initially and then quickly inputting either circle or triangle plus circle to change the attack instead. You can also do a turnaround back slam by deliberately aiming your draw forward slam backwards, then quickly follow with the triangle plus circle. We also have the Flourish, which you can do by pressing circle and any directional input. This is a multi-hit attack in that your hunter does 2 right swings, one low and one high. This doesn't have much range, so you'll need to attack closer. One thing to note is that you can cancel the second swing by simply doing a dodge roll after the first strike. This effectively makes the Flourish possibly the fastest move that the hunting horn can do from a neutral position. Lastly, we have the overhead smash or the super pound, which you can do by pressing triangle and circle plus any directional input. This too is a multi-hit attack in that your hunter initially does an overhead swing, followed by a strong downward slam. This is your strongest neutral move, but it does come at the cost of also being the slowest. It's important to note that the downward slam has a longer range than the initial overhead swing, and it's perfectly fine to miss the swing as long as you connect with the slam. Neutral moves can seamlessly combo off of other neutral moves, as long as you don't repeat the same move twice in succession. Neutral moves also play out notes within your music bar. These notes are important because they are the building blocks for being able to store and play songs. For now, it's important to understand that each hunting horn has access to a list of 3 notes of differing colors. For this hunting horn specifically, it has the white, red, and yellow notes, though these color combinations could be completely different with each specific hunting horns in the game. For the purpose of this video, we'll refer to these notes as Note 1, Note 2, and Note 3. Moves that use the triangle command would play out Note 1, moves that use the circle command, Note 2, and moves that use the triangle plus circle command will play out Note 3. For multi-hit moves like the Flourish and the overhead smash, they have an additional mechanic wherein the second strike in these moves could actually be buffered to play out an additional second note while doing the move. For the Flourish, the player can input either a Note 1, a Note 2, or a Note 3 by holding down the appropriate command during the second swinging animation. It works the same for the overhead smash as well. The first strike plays out a Note 3, and when you input a command during the proceeding slam, it plays out the second note of your choosing. Take note that the timing of the second note is normally when the weapon is just about to be slammed by your hunter. Next, we have follow-up attacks, which are only doable after a preceding attack has been done before these. First is the Hilt stab, which you can do by pressing back plus your choice of Note 1, Note 2, or Note 3 commands. The Hilt stab is your quickest move in your move list, and normally its main use is to quickly play out a note to your music bar. Then we have the overhead smash follow-up attack, or crusher for short. You can only do this move after an overhead smash by pressing triangle and circle and any directional input. This is the strongest single-hit move in your arsenal and functions very similarly to a forward slam. Now let's talk about performances. The neutral performance can be done by pressing R2 without any directional input. And by its own, it's not really much, as performances are significantly more powerful when you have songs stocked up on your song queue list. With our knowledge of playing notes, we can go ahead and talk about queuing up songs this time. In essence, songs are a combination of notes played in an exact order. Here on the upper right side of the screen, you can see which songs are available for your currently equipped horn and the corresponding note commands needed to play these. All horns by default have the self-improvement song along with several other useful ones that could either give you buffs or provide a good source of damage. To demonstrate, we will cue in the self-improvement song by doing 2 Note 1 commands. I'll do so with a forward slam followed by a Note 1 Hilt stab. Now we can see that our song queue currently has the self-improvement song available for use. Now, let's try doing a performance again with R2. This time, the move is quite different. In addition to the impact strike, it also does an additional echo wave damage as seen here from the smoke effect. This is because it's used up the stored self-improvement song. In a way, a song functions kind of like ammo for your performances. We could see the stocked up self-improvement has now also been used up in the song queue list. If I do another performance with R2, nothing special happens again, since we're effectively out of ammo, sort of speaking. Now, here on the upper right song list, we could notice that the self-improvement text has now changed to the color yellow. What this means is that currently your hunter has level 1 self-improvement buff, which gives the hunter a movement speed increase. However, songs can actually go up to level 2 to become a purple buff. Let's try doing another self-improvement this time. As we can see, the self-improvement text has now changed to purple, which means it's now at max level. Max level self-improvement gives the hunter a boost in attack damage and makes it so that all your attacks cannot be deflected by the monster's armor. At the same time, you also retain the movement speed buff from before. However, it does feel a bit cumbersome to do 2 performances just to get one song to max level. And this is where encores come into the picture. Next, I will queue up an attack up song as seen here. I do a performance as normal, but this time, rather than ending the performance after playing the song, I will do an encore by pressing triangle and circle after the end of the performance. An encore, as the name implies, is simply a repeated performance, but done in a faster manner. We could see here that with just one attack up song, a performance to encore combo will effectively play the song twice, bringing it to max level. Lastly, I'll show what happens when I try to queue up the same song twice. For example, I will queue up 2 fire-resistant songs, like so. Now watch while I do a performance with R2 and choose not to do an encore at the end. For every song stored in the song queue list, it adds an additional performance round. Effectively, each round applies the corresponding song's buffs. Notice how after 2 rounds of performances, the fire resistance buff is now up to max level. So in effect, all song buffs will get to max level as long as they are played twice, no matter how you do it. Back to the neutral performance. It's good to know that we also could use this as a draw attack. However, we could see that the position of the horn is to your hunter's back, which could be a bit tricky when trying to land your echo waves on the monster. One way to deal with this is by holding forward while doing the neutral performance, as this would cause your hunter to swing the horn towards the front, though it's a bit slow to execute. Alternatively, we could simply use the forward recital, which is done by pressing R2 and the forward directional input. With the forward recital, it's much easier to line up your echo waves against an enemy's target area. We also have the quick recital, which is done by pressing R2 after a hilt stab. In addition, we also have sideways recitals, which are done by pressing R2 and either a left or right directional input. But I would highly suggest against using any of these, as these are quite slow and absolutely near useless. Next, and more importantly, if you have 2 or 3 songs during the performance, you can do a performance beat to do a quick slap by pressing and timing R2 with the white flash animation. And if you time it just right, your hunter will flash red and your performance beat will do bonus damage. And lastly, it's important to know that if you have 2 or 3 songs saved and you do a performance, it's not necessarily needed to play all 3 songs. You can simply do an encore to immediately end the current round of song. It's important to understand that song buffs do not last forever. If we hold down the L1 button, we can actually see if our buffs are about to end soon. The circular indicators here would start to continuously deplete when our buffs are around a minute or less from expiring. In order to refresh your buffs, all you need to do is to queue up your songs and play them through performances all over again. This time, let's take advantage of all 3 song queue spots and stock up 3 songs all together. Now, try to really observe how I'll queue my songs this time around. It's good to understand that when queuing songs with notes, you can actually take liberties into combining songs with overlapping notes, like this for example. Now that we have 3 songs stored, we can do a performance to do all 3 rounds for each song and then end with an encore to effectively fully refresh the buffs to maximum duration. Now, it's good to know that the song queue list can only have a maximum of 3 songs stocked at the same time. If you queue additional songs after the fact, the newest queued song will simply replace the oldest queued song in the list. It's a first in, first out system. Additionally, you can manually choose to queue which song among the 3 stocked ones you have to specifically play first. You can play the first song by pressing just R2. You can play the second song by pressing R2 plus triangle, and the third song by pressing R2 plus circle. Next, we have special performances. Special performances are unique songs that occupy a separate fourth song slot that cannot be overridden by other songs. Currently, we've only seen the offset melody from the open beta, and we'll need to see more during the official release of the game. I'll probably do a separate video on that when I have enough information, but for now, you can check out my offset melody guide video, which I've linked in the video description below. For multi-note attacks, first we have echo bubbles, which can be done by pressing R2 plus X. You can input up to 3 notes during the echo bubble animation. Once the animation successfully completes, an aura bubble is cast upon the ground, which does decent damage on its own to the monster. Standing on the bubble grants the hunter some useful buffs, such as faster move speed, more evasion, faster health recovery, faster stamina recovery, and several more, which entirely depend on the hunting horn that you've currently equipped. While the monster is within the echo bubble, doing attacks would cause the echo bubbles to resonate with echo waves, which deal quite a bit of damage, more so for performances and encores. You can easily queue 2 to 3 songs with just 2 echo bubbles, and you can put a maximum of 3 echo bubbles at the same time. You gain echo bubble charges every 30 seconds automatically. If the monster is within range of several echo bubbles, it will receive damage from echo waves for all echo bubbles that it touches, as can be seen here. Additionally, even attacks that miss still cause echo bubbles to put out echo waves. Next, we have the Focus Strike Reverb, which you can do by going to focus mode and hitting the monster's wound. The Focus Strike on its own is very unremarkable, but if done on a monster's wound, the attack gains an additional strumming animation while the monster would normally become incapacitated and your hunter gains hyper armor. During the strumming animation, you can input up to 5 notes, and if you time the note inputs to the strumming animation perfectly, you'll be dealing more damage. This attack is a great way to quickly fill up your song queue list with musical ammo. When playing the hunting horn, your game plan will revolve around your performances, as these dish out the most damage to the monster. Initially, you will want to generate notes by attacking with your neutral attacks, follow-up attacks, and multi-note attacks, all the while taking evasion and positioning into consideration. You will also need to make sure that the notes you generate will combo into songs that will serve as your hunting horn's ammo. This means you have to be mindful of the attacks that you do and the corresponding notes that they play. Then, whenever the opportunity arises, you unleash your deadly performances onto the monster, provided of course you've had enough songs ready for use. In Monster Hunter, player skills like hand-eye coordination and fast reflexes, while indeed useful, are not as important as knowledge of the game. Mainly, there are 3 types of game knowledge that you'll need to know. These being knowledge of the weapon, which is knowing your weapon's capabilities and limitations and being able to execute your weapon's functions efficiently, and knowledge of the monster, which consists of information like knowing the monster's moves, its weak areas, its elemental weaknesses, and other monster-specific information. And lastly, knowledge of the matchup, which consists of information like knowing which of your attacks can be used to punish which of the monster's attacks, or which of your songs would give you a significant advantage against the matchup, or how many performance to encore combos you can get away with when the monster is incapacitated, and many other factors. Of these 3, knowledge of the weapon is the easiest one that we could influence, and should be the first one that we should aim to master. Knowledge of the monster and knowledge of the matchup will simply come naturally as you gain experience and familiarity with the game. Alright, now that you know the moves and their applications, you should have a basic working knowledge of the hunting horn. You already know the key to mastery is to play your notes, to manage your songs, and to execute your performances efficiently. And with that, we can do this level 1 exercise where your goal is to mainly focus on the gameplay loop. To do that, we focus only on 4 moves: the forward slam, the left swing, echo bubbles, and performances. You want to make it a habit to always pre-buff your songs before engaging the enemy, and you can do this while riding your sacred. With level 1 drills, your main goal is to use the forward slam and left swing as efficiently as you could by aiming for headshots. You'll notice that while you're doing that, you are automatically stocking up self-improvement songs, which will come in handy later. At this point, you want to pay attention to the monster's moveset. Some moves have long openings where you can do 2 to 3 attacks in return. Some moves are so fast that if you're out of position, you can't retaliate at all. Take mental notes of these things and it will surely help you out in future levels. For now, a good force of habit is wait for the monster to do an attack, then you punish with your attack quickly and reset your position afterwards. With enough blows to the monster's head, you'll score your first knockdown. Take this time to quickly do an echo bubble and follow it up with 2 performances and an encore. If you did the drill properly, you'll have plenty of songs stored in your queue list to use for the performance combo. When you've gained enough confidence with your attacks and monster reads, it's time to start incorporating your performance into your normal offense as well. Specifically, you want to look for long monster openings which will allow you to land a performance and reset safely afterwards. You'll also want to start incorporating your other fast neutral moves like right swings and flourishes when you've further gained confidence in your game plan. You can keep doing level 1 drills until you're confident that you've familiarized yourself with the flow. When you're ready, it's time for level 2. As with level 1, you start level 2 by pre-buffing your songs. The concepts of level 1 still apply here. Aim for the head and be efficient with your moves. However, this time you'll want to focus on incorporating echo bubbles more into your offense to mainly queue up songs even faster. At this point, you'll want to further improve your familiarity with your angles of attack, and you'll want to know how to read monsters' moves even better. You should also start using focus mode to manually aim your attacks and be even more efficient with your movement. As with level 1, you want to always be ready with songs whenever you need to do a performance to encore combo during a knockdown. You should aim to have at least 1 song ready to use at all times as much as possible. You'll also need to be mindful about refreshing your buffs like self-improvement and attack up. With level 2 done, we can go to level 3 drills. Level 3 will be more of the same from level 2, but this time you'll want to focus on your echo bubbles even more, all the while managing not to run out of echo bubble charges. Your main goal here is to have as much offensive songs stocked on your queue list, all the while being mindful that you can still refresh your buffs when needed. Moves and notes will not be put to waste as much as possible during this level, and quick decision making is rightfully needed. Your offense will be highly reliant on performances during long openings, and queuing up echo wave songs when doing neutral moves and echo bubbles. All the while, you'll be mindfully queuing up self-improvement or attack up if you need to refresh your buffs, even if the monster is not incapacitated. You'll want to be able to take advantage of monster mechanics such as flinches and staggers, and know how to punish these accordingly. In level 4 drills, you will want to take advantage of all the tools that you have for note generation, be it normal moves, echo bubbles, or even focus strikes on the wound. You'll also be taking advantage of special performances such as offset melody, and you'll need to know when best you'll be using these moves. At this point, you'll be constantly relying on your echo bubble management for quick songs, and you'll be incorporating your performances regularly in normal offense outside of knockdowns and topples. You'll still make mistakes from time to time, and that is as expected. But you'll know exactly what to do by disengaging and reassessing your approach. So, at this point, you should have more than enough information on how to get started with the hunting horn when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. I've made this guide in the hopes of encouraging more people to at least give the hunting horn a try. The hunting horn may come off as an extremely complicated and difficult weapon to use, and while at times it does feel that way, I assure you it's much easier than you think it is. All you really need to do is to give it a chance and pick it up, see where it goes. The hunting horn has always been labeled as a weak support weapon, and I highly disagree with this, even much more so now with Monster Hunter Wilds. This to me is a weapon that has finally come to realize its true nature and themes. Your attacks, the notes they play, the songs they create, and the performances and encores that you dish out all have such great synergy with one another and with the weapon's themes. If you want to bonk heads and style at them at the same time, then this weapon should definitely be for you. Well, as always, hunters, happy hunting! If you found this video informative or useful, consider checking out our links in the video description. Join us over at the Horn Pub Discord for more hunting horn discussion.